Hey guys, tonight we are drifting back to a moment when hair was not just styled, but sculpted, teased, and shellacked into gravity-defying architecture. We are talking about the 1960s, a decade when your hairstyle said everything about who you were, or at least who you wanted people to think you were. From the towering bouffant that required engineering skills to the sleek, swinging flip that moved like water, every curl told a story. Before we dive in, take a second to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy these strange little corners of history where beauty routines and cultural shifts collide in unexpected ways. And a huge thank you to the person who suggested this topic. You always send me the best ideas, and honestly, your suggestions shape this channel more than you know. Drop a comment telling me which 1960s hairstyle you would have worn, or if your grandmother ever told you stories about the hours spent under those enormous dome dryers. And hey, the channel is now live on Spotify, so if you want to listen while you fall asleep or fold laundry or pretend to work, the link is in the description. Now dim the lights, switch on a fan for that soft white noise breeze, wiggle down under your blanket, and get comfortable. Really comfortable. Like you are not moving for 8 hours unless there is an actual emergency. Because tonight we are exploring a world where women woke up at dawn to tease their hair into clouds, where a can of hairspray was as essential as oxygen, and where your hairstyle could make or break your entire social standing. Have you ever wondered what it actually felt like to sleep in rollers the size of soup cans? How long did it take to backcomb a bouffant high enough to see over a crowd? Did anyone actually enjoy sitting under those dryers that sounded like jet engines? What did it smell like inside a beauty salon in 1963? All those chemicals mingling with cigarette smoke and optimism. And more importantly, could you have survived a single week of 1960s hair maintenance without losing your mind, or at least a significant portion of your natural texture? Well, congratulations. You have just woken up in 1962. Your hair is pinned in rollers so tight they are gently rearranging your skull. A can of aqua net sits on your vanity like a small weapon. And somewhere in the distance, you can hear the hum of a salon dryer calling your name. Good luck. The bouffant is not just a hairstyle. It is a commitment, a lifestyle, possibly a mild form of architectural engineering. You wake up early, earlier than feels fair, because creating the perfect bouffant requires time, patience, and a relationship with your teasing comb that borders on codependency. The goal is height, volume, drama, a silhouette so bold it announces your arrival before you even enter the room. You section your hair carefully, backcombing each piece until it stands on its own, defying gravity and common sense in equal measure. Your bathroom mirror becomes your battlefield. The teasing comb, thin and sharp, slides through each section of hair with a sound like whispered arguments. You hold the section taut, then comb downward, pushing the hair toward your scalp in short, aggressive strokes. The hair resists at first, then surrenders, tangling into a cloud of texture that will serve as the foundation for everything that comes next. Your arm starts to ache somewhere around the 5th section. You ignore it. Beauty is not built by people who listen to their arm complaints. The spray comes next. You hold the can at arm's length and press the nozzle, releasing a cloud of aqua net so thick it hangs in the air like morning fog. The scent is sharp, chemical, vaguely floral, the smell of commitment. You spray each section liberally, coating it until the hair feels stiff beneath your fingers, locked into place by a combination of chemistry and sheer determination. The bathroom fills with a haze that makes your eyes water slightly. You do not care. This is what it takes. Once the foundation is teased and sprayed, you begin the smoothing. This is the delicate part, the artistry. You take a finer comb and gently smooth the top layer of hair over the teased chaos underneath, creating the illusion of a sleek, polished surface. The volume remains, hidden beneath, but the top looks soft, controlled, elegant. It is a magic trick. It is a lie everyone agrees to believe. You shape the bouffant with your hands, coaxing it higher at the crown, wider at the sides, until it reaches the proportions you envisioned. Some women aim for subtle height. Others aim for the kind of volume that requires sideways entrances through doorways. You are somewhere in the middle, ambitious, but not reckless. You spray again, a final coating, sealing everything in place with the kind of shellac usually reserved for furniture. When you finally step back and assess your work, you feel a surge of quiet triumph. Your hair is a monument. It is architecture. It is 3 inches taller than it was when you started, and it will not move, not for wind, not for rain, not for the judgment of lesser mortals who do not understand the commitment required. You leave the house carefully, aware that your head now operates on a different plane than the rest of your body. You duck slightly through doorways. You avoid low-hanging branches. You do not lean back in cars. The bouffant has requirements, and you meet them gladly, because when you walk into a room and every head turns, when you catch your reflection in a store window and see that perfect rounded silhouette, you know it was worth it. Every minute, every aching arm, every cloud of hairspray that may or may not have permanently altered your lung capacity. The bouffant is not just hair, it is a statement, and you are making it loudly. The flip is elegance in motion, a hairstyle that swings when you walk, bounces when you laugh, and makes you feel like you are starring in your own romantic comedy. It is sleek at the crown, smooth along the sides, and then, just at the shoulders, it curves outward in a gentle, confident flourish. Achieving the flip requires precision, the right rollers, the right angle, the right amount of heat, and a patience that borders on meditative. You sit beneath the dryer, feeling the warm air wrap around your head like a gentle embrace, waiting for the magic to set. The process begins with wet hair, freshly washed and combed smooth. You section it carefully, parting it down the middle or slightly to the side, depending on your mood and the shape of your face. Then come the rollers, large and smooth, the kind that create soft curves rather than tight spirals. You roll each section under, toward your head, securing the roller with a pin that digs slightly into your scalp. The tension is important. Too loose, and the curl will not hold. Too tight, and you will spend the next hour convinced your scalp is staging a revolt. Once your head is covered in rollers, you make your way to the dryer, that enormous dome-shaped contray that looks like something from a science fiction film. You lower it carefully over your head, adjusting the height so it hovers just above the rollers without crushing them. The dryer hums to life, a low rumble that vibrates gently through your skull. Warm air begins to circulate, wrapping around each roller, coaxing the hair into its new shape. You sit, and sit, and sit. The dryer is not quick. You bring a magazine, something glossy and full of aspirational photographs. Women in Paris wearing scarves and looking mysteriously content. You flip through the pages slowly, careful not to jostle your head too much. Around you, other women sit beneath their own domes, a row of pastel-coloured helmets, everyone waiting patiently for transformation. The salon smells like shampoo, perm solution, and coffee from the small pot someone keeps brewing in the back. Stylists move between stations, scissors flashing, combs clicking, voices murmuring, encouragement and instruction. Someone is getting a dramatic cut. Someone else is having their roots touched up. You are simply waiting, suspended in the warmth, half asleep, half aware, drifting in that strange liminal space where time moves differently. When the timer finally dings, the stylist lifts the dryer. Cool air rushes in, a relief. She tests a roller carefully, pressing it to see if it has cooled. Satisfied, she begins removing them one by one, each one releasing a smooth curl that springs gently against your neck. When all the rollers are out, your hair hangs in perfect cylindrical curls, uniform and slightly stiff. Then comes the brushing. She uses a paddle brush, pulling it gently through each curl, softening the shape, blending the sections together until the curls become waves, and the waves become one smooth, continuous line. She works slowly, methodically, until your hair transforms into the flip, sleek on top, flipping outward at the ends in that signature curve. You turn your head experimentally. The hair moves with you, swinging gently, catching the light. It feels lighter than air, softer than it has any right to be after an hour under heat. You smile, and the flip bounces. You walk toward the mirror, and it swings. The flip is motion incarnate, elegance that refuses to stay still, and as you leave the salon, stepping out into the afternoon sun, you feel like the heroine of a story that has not been written yet, but will definitely have a happy ending. The beehive is not for the faint of heart. It is a towering monument to ambition, a hairstyle so tall it requires its own weather system. You start at the crown, teasing, spraying, smoothing, building upward layer by layer like a patient architect constructing a skyscraper. The higher you go, the more people notice. And in the 1960s, being noticed is the entire point. By the time you finish, your hair reaches heights that make doorways feel slightly threatening, and you move through the world with the careful grace of someone balancing a very important sculpture on their head. The beehive begins with a vision. You picture the shape in your mind, tall and rounded, tapering slightly as it rises, like a hive made of hair instead of wax and honey. You section off the crown, clipping the rest of your hair out of the way. This top section is the foundation, the load-bearing structure upon which everything else will rest. You backcomb aggressively, more aggressively than the bouffant, more aggressively than seems reasonable. The comb scrapes against your scalp. Your hair protests, tangling into knots that will take days to fully brush out if you ever even try. You do not try. The beehive is not a hairstyle you dismantle casually. It is a commitment that lasts until your next wash, which might be a week from now, possibly longer if you are particularly dedicated. Layer by layer, you build upward. Each section is teased, sprayed, and then wrapped around the growing structure, pinned carefully with bobby pins that disappear into the chaos. You add height incrementally, checking your progress in the mirror, adjusting the angle, making sure the shape stays symmetrical. The beehive cannot lean. A leaning beehive is a failure, a structural collapse that everyone will notice and no one will mention out loud, which is somehow worse. Your arms ache, your neck grows stiff from holding your head at odd angles. Hairspray coats your fingers, making them sticky and slightly numb. You power through, because quitting now would mean starting over, and starting over is not an option when you have already invested 45 minutes and half a can of industrial-strength aerosol. When the structure reaches its full height, you pause to assess. It is tall, very tall, possibly too tall, but in the 1960s, too tall does not exist. You smooth the outer layer carefully, using a fine-tooth comb to create a sleek, polished surface that hides the ratted chaos beneath. You spray again, liberally, coating the entire structure in a shellac so thick it could probably withstand a Category 3 hurricane. The final touch is the wrap. Some women leave the beehive as is, a simple tower of hair. Others wrap a section of hair around the base, covering the pins and adding a polished finish. You choose the wrap, taking a long strand from the back and winding it around the bottom of the beehive, securing it with more pins, more spray, more hope. When you step back, your reflection stares at you from the mirror, and for a moment you do not quite recognize yourself. Your face looks smaller beneath the towering hair. Your neck looks longer. You look taller, more dramatic, like someone who would star in a French film about existential longing and exceptionally good posture. You leave the house cautiously. The beehive adds at least 6 inches to your height, which means chandeliers are now a legitimate concern. You walk through doorways at an angle. You avoid ceiling fans entirely. In the car, you adjust the seat, tilting it back slightly so your hair does not brush the roof. It is inconvenient. It is impractical. It is absolutely worth it, because when you walk into a party and the entire room goes quiet for just a moment, you know you have succeeded. The beehive is not subtle. It is not meant to be. It is a declaration, a challenge, a monument to the fact that you woke up this morning and chose drama. And drama, in the 1960s, is always the right choice. The pixie cut is rebellion in its most elegant form. It is short, sharp, effortlessly chic, and it says you are not interested in spending 3 hours teasing your hair into submission every morning. You walk into the salon with long hair and walk out feeling lighter, freer, like you have shed an old version of yourself along with those extra inches. The pixie requires confidence because there is nowhere to hide, no volume to distract, just your face, your features, and the bold statement that you do not need hair to be beautiful. The decision to cut it all off does not come lightly. You have thought about it for weeks, maybe months, flipping through magazines, studying the models with their gamine faces and sharp cheekbones, their hair cropped close in a way that looks both daring and impossibly sophisticated. You wonder if you could pull it off. You wonder if your face is the right shape, if your neck is long enough, if you have the kind of bone structure that can carry a pixie without looking like you lost a bet. But eventually, curiosity wins. You make the appointment. The stylist greets you with a knowing smile, the kind that says she has seen this moment before, the moment when a woman decides to let go. She leads you to the chair, drapes the cape around your shoulders, and asks the question every stylist asks before a dramatic cut. Are you sure? You nod. You are sure, or at least you are sure enough. She begins with the scissors, cutting away the length in long, decisive strokes. Your hair falls to the floor in soft clumps, and with each cut, you feel a strange sense of release, like you are shedding weight you did not realize you were carrying. The scissors snip steadily, rhythmically, a sound that is both soothing and slightly terrifying. Your hair gets shorter and shorter and shorter. The stylist works quickly, confidently, cutting close to your head, shaping the hair around your ears, tapering it at the nape of your neck. She pauses occasionally to check the symmetry, tilting your head gently, running her fingers through the hair to see how it falls. When she finally steps back, you barely recognize yourself. Your neck is visible, long and exposed. Your ears peek out from beneath the short layers. Your eyes look bigger, your cheekbones more defined. You look like someone else, someone bolder, more confident, someone who does not care what anyone thinks. The stylist hands you a mirror so you can see the back. The hair tapers neatly, following the curve of your skull, ending in a soft point at the nape. It is clean, precise, almost architectural in its simplicity. You run your hand through it, feeling the short strands slip between your fingers, soft and light. It barely weighs anything. You shake your head experimentally, and the hair moves with you, falling back into place immediately. No fuss, no effort. You leave the salon feeling like you are floating. The breeze hits the back of your neck, a sensation you have not felt in years, cool and startling and somehow exhilarating. You catch your reflection in a store window and do a double take. That is you. That short-haired, sharp-featured, impossibly chic person is you. The pixie cut changes everything. Getting ready in the morning takes minutes instead of hours. You run a comb through your hair, maybe add a little pomade to the front, and you are done. No rollers. No teasing. No industrial quantities of hairspray. Just you, your face, and a hairstyle that refuses to apologize for taking up less space. Some people love it immediately. They tell you it suits you, that you look modern, fresh, like you just stepped out of a European fashion magazine. Others are less sure, asking when you plan to grow it out, as if short hair is a temporary condition rather than a choice. You smile politely and do not answer, because the truth is, you are not sure you will ever grow it out. The pixie cut is freedom. It is ease. It is the discovery that you do not need long hair to feel beautiful, that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is take up less space, and somehow, paradoxically, command more attention. The pixie cut is not for everyone, but for you, right now, it is perfect. The bob is classic, timeless, and deceptively simple. It hits right at the jawline, framing your face with a clean, geometric precision that feels both modern and somehow eternal. In the 1960s, the bob is everywhere, worn by secretaries and socialites, by women who want to look polished without the drama of towering volume. You sit in the salon chair as the stylist snips carefully, each cut deliberate, purposeful, until the shape emerges, sharp and confident, swinging gently when you turn your head. The bob has been around for decades by the time the 1960s arrive, but it never goes out of style. It evolves, shifts, adapts to each era while maintaining its essential character. Clean lines, blunt edges, a shape that feels intentional. In the 60s, the bob becomes sleeker, smoother, less about the finger waves of the 20s and more about movement, swing, the way hair catches light as it moves. Your stylist measures carefully before cutting, using her fingers to mark the length, making sure both sides will match. Symmetry is everything with a bob. Even a quarter inch of difference will throw off the entire shape, making one side swing differently than the other, creating a subtle imbalance that you will notice every single time you look in a mirror. She cuts wet, the scissors slicing through damp hair with a soft snicking sound. You watch in the mirror as the hair falls away, shorter and shorter, until it hovers right at your jawline, the blunt edge crisp and clean. She works methodically, checking and rechecking, holding sections between her fingers, cutting horizontally to create that signature straight line. When the cut is finished, she blow-dries it smooth, pulling the hair taut with a round brush, directing the heat until every strand lies flat and shining. The bob emerges from the dryer sleek and polished, the ends turning under just slightly, enough to soften the shape without adding curl. She finishes with a light mist of hairspray, just enough to keep everything in place without making it stiff. You turn your head experimentally, watching the way the hair swings, then falls back into place perfectly, like it has been trained. The bob has weight, substance, a way of moving that feels deliberate and controlled. It is not wild or unpredictable. It is reliable, consistent, the kind of hairstyle that will look the same at 8 in the morning and 8 at night, assuming you do not do anything too dramatic in between. The beauty of the bob is its versatility. You can wear it straight and sleek for the office, all business and professionalism. You can add a slight curl to the ends for evening, softening the shape, making it more romantic. You can tuck it behind your ears for a casual look, or let it fall forward, framing your face in a way that feels mysterious and slightly enigmatic. The bob also requires maintenance, regular trims every 6 weeks to keep the line sharp, daily styling to maintain the smoothness, a certain amount of attention that becomes routine, automatic, part of your morning ritual. You wash it, blow it dry, smooth the ends with your hands, check the back in a handheld mirror to make sure everything is even. It is not difficult, but it is not effortless either. The bob rewards consistency. You wear it to work, where your boss compliments your professionalism. You wear it to dinner, where your date tells you that you look elegant. You wear it to the grocery store, where the checkout woman asks who does your hair. The bob is universally understood, a hairstyle that communicates competence, sophistication, a certain level of having your life together, even when you absolutely do not. At night, you brush it smooth, checking for split ends, making sure the shape is still intact. The bob is forgiving but not indestructible. It needs care, attention, a gentle hand. But when you look at yourself in the mirror, hair swinging gently as you turn, you feel polished, put together, ready for whatever comes next. The bob is not flashy. It does not demand attention the way a beehive does, but it earns respect, quiet and steady, a hairstyle that whispers confidence instead of shouting it. The bubble cut is youthful, playful, almost whimsical, a hairstyle that looks like it is perpetually caught in a gentle breeze. It is short, rounded, full of soft curls that frame your face like a halo. Achieving the bubble requires setting your hair in tight rollers, waiting patiently under the dryer, and then gently brushing out the curls until they blend into one smooth, rounded shape. The result is sweet, approachable, the kind of hairstyle that makes people smile when they see you coming. The bubble cut is all about shape, a perfect rounded silhouette that hugs your head like a soft cloud. It is shorter than a bob, but longer than a pixie, hitting somewhere around ear length, with layers that create volume and movement. The cut itself is relatively simple, but the styling is where the magic happens. You start by washing your hair, towel drying it until it is damp but not dripping. Then come the rollers, small ones, the kind that create tight, springy curls. You roll each section carefully, starting at the ends and rolling toward your scalp, securing each roller with a pin. The rollers cover your entire head, transforming you temporarily into someone who looks like they are wearing a strange, lumpy helmet. Next comes the waiting. If you are at home, you might sit around reading or doing chores, moving carefully so the rollers do not shift. If you are at the salon, you settle under the dryer, that warm dome descending over your head, the hum of the motor vibrating gently through your skull. The heat wraps around each roller, setting the curls, locking them into their tight spiral shape. When the timer dings and the rollers come out, your hair springs free in tight, uniform curls, each one a perfect coil. You look, briefly, like a poodle. This is normal. This is expected. The bubble cut is not yet finished. Now comes the brushing, the most important part. You take a soft bristled brush and gently brush through the curls, loosening them, blending them together, coaxing them from individual spirals into one cohesive rounded shape. You brush outward, away from your head, creating volume, lift, airiness. The curls soften, expand, merge, until your hair becomes a soft, billowy cloud that surrounds your face. The key is not to overbrush. Too much brushing and the curls disappear entirely, leaving you with limp, frizzy hair. Too little and you still look like a poodle. The sweet spot is somewhere in between, where the curls are still visible but soft, blended, unified into that signature bubble shape. You finish with a light mist of hairspray, holding the can far away so the spray settles gently over the surface without weighing it down. The bubble cut needs to stay light, airy, touchable. It should move when you move, bounce when you walk, feel soft when someone reaches out to touch it. The bubble cut is youthful in a way that feels genuine, not forced. It is the hairstyle of teenage girls and young women, of people who still believe the world is basically good and that everything will work out if you just stay optimistic. It is innocent without being childish, sweet without being saccharine. You wear it to school, where your friends immediately reach out to touch it, marveling at how soft it feels. You wear it on dates, where boys tell you that you look cute, which is exactly what you were going for. You wear it to family gatherings, where your grandmother tells you that you look just like she did at your age, and you are not sure if this is a compliment or a warning, but you smile and say thank you anyway. The bubble cut does not last as long as some styles. By the end of the day, the curls start to droop, the shape begins to sag. You touch it up with your fingers, fluffing it gently, trying to restore some of the volume. But even when it starts to fall, it still looks sweet, still has that soft, romantic quality that makes people want to be around you. The bubble cut is not about perfection. It is about warmth, approachability, the kind of beauty that invites people in rather than keeping them at a distance. And in a decade full of towering beehives and architectural bouffants, sometimes what you need most is a hairstyle that simply makes people smile. The pageboy is polished, refined, the hairstyle of women who mean business but still want to look effortlessly elegant. It is smooth, symmetrical, curling gently under at the ends, in a way that feels controlled yet soft. You achieve the pageboy with careful rolling, precise drying, and a finishing brush that smooths every strand into place. It is the hairstyle of actresses and first ladies, of women who understand that sometimes the most powerful statement is quiet confidence. The pageboy gets its name from the young boys who served in medieval courts, their hair cut in a simple, uniform style that was easy to maintain. By the time the 1960s arrive, the pageboy has evolved into something far more sophisticated, a carefully styled look that requires skill and patience to perfect. The cut is clean, usually shoulder length or slightly shorter, with minimal layering. The key is uniformity, every strand the same length, creating a heavy, substantial feel that allows the hair to move as one solid piece. There is no volume at the crown, no teasing, no backcombing. The pageboy is smooth from roots to ends, sleek and glossy, reflecting light like polished wood. Styling the pageboy begins with large rollers, the kind that create soft curves rather than tight curls. You roll the ends under, toward your face, securing each roller carefully. Some women set the entire head, rollers from roots to ends. Others only roll the bottom few inches, leaving the top smooth and straight. It depends on how much natural body your hair has, how willing it is to cooperate. Under the dryer you go, settling in for the duration. The pageboy requires patience. Rush the drying and the curls will not set. Pull the rollers out too soon and the shape will fall before you even leave the house. So you wait, reading magazines, letting your mind drift, feeling the warmth seep into your scalp. When the rollers finally come out, your hair curls under in smooth, uniform loops. You brush it gently, not too much, just enough to soften the curls slightly, to blend the sections together. The ends turn under against your neck, neat and controlled, framing your face symmetrically on both sides. The pageboy is all about symmetry. You check in the mirror, making sure both sides match, that the curl is the same angle, the same tightness. Any asymmetry in the whole style looks off, unfinished, like you got distracted halfway through and wandered away. You smooth the top with your palms, pressing gently to eliminate any hint of frizz or flyaways. The pageboy demands sleekness, a polished surface that catches the light and shines. You finish with a light application of styling cream, something that adds sheen without weight, and a final spritz of hairspray to lock everything in place. The pageboy moves beautifully. When you turn your head, the hair swings gently, then settles back into position, the ends curling under exactly as they should. There is something deeply satisfying about this consistency, the way the style holds its shape, the way it looks the same at noon as it did at 8 in the morning. You wear the pageboy to job interviews, where it communicates competence and reliability. You wear it to important dinners, where it suggests sophistication without trying too hard. You wear it to weddings and graduations and any event where you need to look put together but not overdressed, polished but not stiff. The pageboy is also practical. Unlike the beehive or the bouffant, it does not require constant maintenance throughout the day. Once it is set, it stays. You do not need to carry a comb and hairspray in your purse, do not need to excuse yourself to the bathroom every hour to check your reflection. The pageboy is dependable, low maintenance despite its polished appearance, the kind of hairstyle that lets you focus on everything else happening in your life instead of worrying constantly about your hair. At night, you brush it smooth, checking for any tangles, any signs that the style is beginning to break down. The pageboy can last for days if you care for it properly, sleeping carefully on a silk pillowcase, touching it up in the morning with a quick brush and a spritz of water. It is a workhorse of a hairstyle, beautiful and functional, elegant and practical, the perfect balance for women who need their hair to work as hard as they do. The French twist is sophistication incarnate, a hairstyle that transforms you from ordinary to elegant in a matter of minutes, assuming you have the skill and approximately 17 bobby pins. You gather your hair at the nape of your neck, twist it upward in one smooth motion, and pin it carefully until it holds, sleek and secure. The French twist is evening glamour, the hairstyle you wear to cocktail parties and gallery openings when you want to look like you stepped out of a European film. The French twist is deceptively simple in concept. All you need to do is twist your hair and pin it. How hard could it be? The answer, you discover the first time you attempt it, is surprisingly hard. The French twist requires technique, practice, and a certain amount of faith that physics will cooperate. You start by brushing your hair smooth, eliminating any tangles or knots that might interfere with the twist. Some women apply a light styling cream first, something to give the hair a little grip, make it easier to work with. You gather all your hair at the nape of your neck, holding it in one hand like a ponytail, but do not secure it. Not yet. Here is where the magic happens. You twist the hair, turning it clockwise if you are right-handed, counterclockwise if you are left-handed, rolling it upward against your head. As you twist, the hair naturally wants to coil in on itself, to form a neat spiral running vertically up the back of your head. You keep twisting, keep rolling, until the entire length of your hair is wrapped into this spiral column. Now comes the pinning. You hold the twist in place with one hand, feeling it try to unravel, while your other hand reaches for bobby pins. You start at the bottom, sliding pins horizontally into the twist, catching both the twisted hair and the hair underneath, securing everything to your scalp. You work your way upward, adding pins every inch or so, checking constantly to make sure the twist is not slipping, not coming loose. The top is the trickiest part. You tuck the ends of your hair down into the twist, hiding them so they do not stick out awkwardly. You pin this section multiple times, from multiple angles, creating a kind of structural support system that holds everything in place. By the time you are finished, you have used so many bobby pins you have lost count. 15? 20? They have disappeared into your hair, invisible but essential. You step back and check your work in the mirror. The French twist rises elegantly up the back of your head, smooth and sleek, not a hair out of place. From the front, your face is completely visible, unframed, open, giving you an almost regal quality. Your neck looks longer, your shoulders look more graceful. You look like the kind of woman who knows which fork to use at a formal dinner and can make small talk about art without breaking a sweat. The French twist is uncomfortable. There is no way around this. The pins dig into your scalp. The tension of the twist pulls at the roots of your hair, creating a dull ache that starts at the nape and radiates upward. By the end of the evening, you will have a headache. You know this. You accept it. Beauty and comfort rarely coexist. But when you slip into your cocktail dress, fasten your pearls, and look at yourself in the mirror, the discomfort fades into the background. You look elegant, sophisticated, like someone who belongs at fancy parties, who can hold a champagne glass with casual grace and laugh at jokes you do not quite understand. The French twist holds up well throughout the evening. It does not droop or sag, does not come loose unless you have severely underpinned it. You move through the party with confidence, knowing your hair is secure, that you will not have a wardrobe malfunction involving bobby pins scattering across a marble floor. When you finally get home and begin removing the pins, your scalp sighs with relief. The twist unravels, your hair falls loose, and you massage your head gently, trying to ease the ache. But even as you rub your sore scalp, you are already thinking about the next time you will wear it, because the French twist is worth the discomfort. It is elegance distilled into a single hairstyle, proof that sometimes beauty requires sacrifice, and that you are willing to make it. The half-up, half-down style is balance, a compromise between volume and freedom, between structure and movement. You tease the crown, pin it back gently, and let the rest of your hair fall naturally down your back, smooth and shining. It is youthful without being childish, elegant without being stuffy, the perfect middle ground for women who want a little bit of everything. You can wear it to class, to dates, to dinner with your family, and it always feels exactly right. The half-up, half-down is the hairstyle of indecision, and that is not an insult. It is the hairstyle you choose when you cannot quite commit to fully up or fully down, when you want your hair off your face, but also want to show off its length. It is the best of both worlds, a diplomatic solution to the eternal question, what should I do with my hair today? You start by sectioning off the crown, the top portion of your hair from your temples back. This is the section you will tease, the part that will add height and drama. You backcomb it carefully, not as aggressively as a bouffant, but enough to create lift, volume, a gentle rise at the crown that elongates your face and adds a touch of 60s flair. Once the teasing is done, you smooth the top layer gently, hiding the chaos underneath, creating the illusion of naturally voluminous hair. You gather this teased section and pull it back, securing it at the crown of your head with bobby pins or a small clip. Some women use a ribbon or a barrette, adding a pop of color or texture. Others keep it simple, letting the hair itself be the statement. The rest of your hair falls freely down your back, and this is where you have options. You can leave it straight and sleek, a smooth contrast to the volume at the crown. You can add gentle waves, curling the ends with a curling iron or hot rollers, creating movement and softness. You can even braid the loose section, weaving it into a simple plait that hangs between your shoulder blades. The half-up, half-down is versatile in a way few hairstyles are. It works for casual days when you throw it together in 5 minutes before running out the door. It works for special occasions when you take your time, teasing carefully, curling precisely, finishing with enough hairspray to ensure everything stays in place through dinner and dancing. You wear it to school, where it keeps your hair out of your face during exams but still looks pretty enough that you do not feel like you have given up on your appearance entirely. You wear it on dates, where it strikes the perfect balance between trying and trying too hard, between looking polished and looking like you spent 4 hours in front of a mirror. The half up, half down also has a certain innocence to it, a sweetness that feels genuine. It is the hairstyle of good girls, of young women who are responsible and thoughtful but also fun, approachable. It does not have the severity of a tight bun or the drama of a beehive. It is soft, friendly, the kind of hairstyle that makes people feel comfortable around you. Throughout the day, you might find yourself touching it, adjusting the pins, smoothing the crown, making sure everything is still in place. The half up, half down requires a bit of maintenance, especially if you have teased the crown significantly. The volume can start to deflate as the hours pass, and you need to fluff it back up, add a little more spray, coax it back into shape. But this maintenance is minimal compared to more elaborate styles. You do not need to excuse yourself to the bathroom every hour. You do not need to carry a full arsenal of styling products in your purse. A few pins and a small comb are usually enough to touch things up when needed. At night, when you finally take your hair down, you brush through the teased section carefully, working out the tangles with patience. The half up, half down leaves your hair mostly undamaged, mostly natural, unlike styles that require so much teasing and spraying that your hair feels like straw by the end of the day. You can wash it, let it dry naturally, and it will return to its normal state without too much fuss. The half up, half down is kind to your hair. And in the 1960s, when so many hairstyles require sacrifice and suffering, a little kindness goes a long way. The chignon is timeless elegance, a low bun that sits at the nape of your neck with quiet confidence. It is the hairstyle of ballerinas and movie stars, of women who understand that sometimes less is more. You smooth your hair back carefully, twist it into a soft coil, and pin it securely, checking in the mirror to make sure every strand is exactly where it should be. The chignon is understated, refined, the kind of hairstyle that whispers rather than shouts. The chignon has been around for generations, a classic updo that never truly goes out of style. In the 1960s, when so many hairstyles are about height and volume and architectural ambition, the chignon stands apart. It is low, sleek, controlled. It does not demand attention. It earns it through sheer elegance. You begin by brushing your hair smooth, pulling it back from your face with firm, even strokes. The chignon requires smoothness, sleekness, a polished surface with no bumps or irregularities. You gather all your hair at the nape of your neck, holding it firmly in one hand. Some women apply a bit of gel or pomade first, smoothing down any flyaways, ensuring every hair lies flat against the skull. Once the hair is gathered, you twist it gently, coiling it around itself to form a rope. Then you wrap this rope into a circular shape, a flat coil that sits against the nape of your neck. The size of the coil depends on how much hair you have. Thick hair creates a substantial bun. Fine hair creates something smaller, more delicate, but no less elegant. You pin the coil in place, sliding bobby pins through the bun and into the hair beneath, securing it to your head. The pins need to be placed strategically, catching enough hair to hold the weight of the bun without being so tight that they create uncomfortable pressure points. You work your way around the bun, adding pins until it feels secure, until you can shake your head gently without feeling anything shift. The chignon can be worn in different variations. Some women create a tight, smooth bun with every hair perfectly in place, a look that feels formal and controlled. Others create a softer version, allowing a few wisps to escape around the face, pulling the hair back loosely before twisting it, creating a more romantic, relaxed feel. Both versions are beautiful. Both are valid. It depends on where you are going and how you want to feel. The chignon is practical in ways few updos are. It keeps your hair completely off your neck, away from your face, out of the way. On hot days, it is a relief, allowing air to circulate, keeping you cool. During physical activity, it stays secure, not bouncing or shifting or coming loose. Ballerinas wear it for good reason. It does not interfere. But the chignon is also beautiful. There is something inherently graceful about the way it exposes the neck, elongates the silhouette, draws attention to the shoulders and collarbones. When you wear a chignon, you look polished, put together, like someone who has their life organized and under control, even if internally you are a mess of anxiety and half-formed plans. You wear the chignon to formal events, where it pairs beautifully with evening gowns and cocktail dresses. You wear it to work, where it communicates professionalism and competence. You wear it on days when you simply cannot deal with your hair, when the idea of styling it into anything more complicated feels impossible, and the chignon becomes a refuge, a simple solution that still looks intentional. The chignon holds up well throughout the day. Unlike styles that require constant maintenance, the chignon stays put. The pins keep it secure. The smooth surface does not frizz or separate. By evening, it looks almost the same as it did in the morning. Perhaps a few small wisps have escaped, softening the look, but the overall structure remains intact. When you finally take it down at night, your hair falls loose, and you can see the waves the bun has created, gentle crimps running through the length. You massage your scalp, relieving the slight soreness from the pins and the tension of the pulled-back hair. But even as you massage away the discomfort, you are grateful for the chignon, for the way it carried you through the day with grace and ease, for the way it made you look elegant without requiring hours of effort. The chignon is not flashy. It does not turn heads the way a beehive does, but it earns respect, quiet and steady, a hairstyle that understands the power of restraint. The ponytail in the 1960s is not just functional. It is flirty, youthful, full of personality. You gather your hair high at the crown, securing it with a ribbon or elastic, and let it cascade down your back in a smooth, shining waterfall. Some women tease the crown before pulling it back, adding height and drama. Others keep it sleek and simple, letting the length speak for itself. Either way, the ponytail is effortless charm, the hairstyle of girls who are always on the move. The beauty of the ponytail is its versatility. You can wear it high, perched at the very top of your head like a cheerleader, bouncing with every step, full of energy and enthusiasm. You can wear it mid-level, positioned at the crown, a balance between playful and practical. Or you can wear it low, gathered at the nape of your neck, a more sophisticated take that still keeps your hair out of the way. The high ponytail is the most popular version in the 60s, especially among younger women. You bend forward slightly as you gather your hair, brushing it upward with long strokes, smoothing out any bumps or irregularities. The goal is a sleek surface, no lumps, no gaps, just smooth hair pulled taut from your scalp to the elastic. You secure it with a band, wrapping it around twice, sometimes 3 times if your hair is fine, making sure it holds tight. Some women add a ribbon, tying it around the base of the ponytail in a bow that matches their outfit. The ribbon adds a pop of color, a touch of femininity, a way to make even the simplest ponytail feel intentional. Others use a decorative elastic, something with beads or metallic threads woven through, catching the light when you move. If you want drama, you tease the crown first. You section off the hair at the top of your head, back comb it into a cloud of volume, then smooth the surface gently before pulling everything back. This creates the illusion of height even with your hair pulled back, a compromise between the big hair trends of the decade and the practicality of a ponytail. The teased crown adds a certain 60s flair, a nod to the era's love of volume without committing fully to a bouffant. The ponytail swings when you walk, bouncing against your back with a rhythm that feels almost musical. It is a hairstyle that loves movement, that looks better in motion than it does standing still. When you turn your head quickly, the ponytail whips around, catching up a second later. When you run, it bounces happily behind you, keeping time with your steps. You wear the ponytail everywhere, to gym class where it keeps your hair secure during jumping jacks and volleyball serves, to the grocery store where you pull it together quickly before running out the door, not wanting to leave the house with messy hair but also not having time for anything elaborate, to casual dates where it makes you look young and approachable, like someone who is fun to be around, who does not take herself too seriously. The ponytail is also practical for hot days. When the temperature climbs and humidity makes the air thick and heavy, wearing your hair down becomes unbearable. The ponytail lifts all that weight off your neck, allows air to circulate, keeps you cool. You can feel the breeze against your skin, a relief that makes the heat almost bearable. At night, you pull the elastic out carefully, trying not to tug too hard, not to pull out any hairs. Your hair falls loose, and you can see the crimp the elastic has left, a ring of texture running around the circumference of your ponytail. Some women find this annoying. Others find it charming, a reminder of where the hair has been, what it has done during the day. The ponytail does not damage your hair the way teasing does. It does not require chemicals or heat or industrial quantities of hairspray. It is just your hair, gathered and secured, simple and honest. And in a decade full of complicated styles that require engineering degrees and unwavering commitment, sometimes what you need most is a hairstyle that simply gets out of the way and lets you live your life. The ponytail does exactly that. It is functional, pretty, and completely unpretentious. It is hair that works as hard as you do, without complaint, without drama, just bouncing along behind you, keeping up, ready for whatever comes next. The curly shag is wild, free, a celebration of natural texture in a decade obsessed with control. It is layered, voluminous, full of curls that move independently like they have their own personalities. Achieving the curly shag requires less teasing and more embracing, letting your natural curls do what they want while cutting them into a shape that feels intentional. It is the hairstyle of artists and free spirits, of women who are tired of fighting their hair and ready to let it win. For years, maybe your whole life, you have been trying to tame your curls. You have rolled them smooth, brushed them flat, applied products promising to control frizz and define curl patterns into something manageable, something that looks intentional rather than chaotic. But the curly shag asks you to stop fighting, to let go, to see what happens when you work with your hair instead of against it. The cut is key. Your stylist uses a razor instead of scissors, slicing into the hair at angles, creating layers that remove weight without removing length. The layers are irregular, some short, some long, stacked in a way that encourages the curls to spring free, to bounce and move independently. The shortest layers frame your face, the longest ones hit your shoulders, and everything in between exists in beautiful, chaotic harmony. There is no careful symmetry here, no precise measurements ensuring both sides match exactly. The curly shag is asymmetrical by nature, embracing the randomness of curls, the way they spiral differently on each side of your head, the way they refuse to conform to geometric expectations. After the cut, your stylist does not reach for rollers or a blow dryer. Instead, she scrunches a handful of styling cream through your damp hair, encouraging the curls to form naturally, to clump together in whatever way feels right. She might use a diffuser, a strange attachment that looks like a bowl with fingers, holding it near your head and letting warm air circulate gently through your curls without blowing them straight. When your hair dries, it is bigger than you expected, fuller. The layers create volume that seems to defy physics, each curl springing outward, taking up space, refusing to be contained. You look like someone from a folk album cover, bohemian and artistic, like you might know how to play guitar or write poetry or throw pots on a wheel. The curly shag requires a different maintenance routine than straight styles. You do not brush it, at least not when it is dry. Brushing curls turns them into frizz, separates them into a cloud of individual strands that no longer resemble anything intentional. Instead, you use your fingers, gently separating curls, fluffing them, encouraging them to fall in ways that feel natural. You wash your hair less frequently, maybe twice a week, because curly hair dries out easily, and too much washing strips away the natural oils that keep curls soft and defined. On non-wash days, you refresh with a spray bottle of water mixed with a little conditioner, spritzing your hair until the curls reactivate, spring back to life, remember their shape. The curly shag is not for everyone. It does not look polished in the traditional sense. It does not photograph well in formal portraits where everyone is supposed to look uniform and controlled. But it has a certain energy, a vitality that straight, smooth hairstyles cannot replicate. It is hair that looks alive, that moves constantly, that seems to have opinions about where it wants to be. You wear it to art galleries and coffee shops, places where individuality is valued more than conformity. You wear it on days when you feel rebellious, when you want to push back against the decade's obsession with height and structure and perfectly teased crowns. You wear it when you want to feel like yourself, whoever that is, rather than like a carefully constructed version of what someone else thinks you should be. People react to the curly shag differently than they react to more conventional styles. Some love it immediately, complimenting its uniqueness, its natural beauty. Others look confused, uncertain whether you styled it intentionally or simply gave up. You do not care. The curly shag is not about pleasing everyone. It is about pleasing yourself. At night, you do not set it in rollers or pin it carefully. You simply let it be, maybe pulling it into a loose pineapple at the top of your head to preserve the curls while you sleep. In the morning, you shake it out, scrunch it with your hands, and you are done. 5 minutes, maybe less. The curly shag is low maintenance in ways that contradict the decade's beauty standards entirely, and that is exactly why it feels so revolutionary. The headband is not just an accessory, it is a solution, a way to keep your carefully teased bouffant from collapsing while also adding a pop of color or pattern. You slide the headband over your hair, positioning it carefully so it sits just behind your hairline, holding everything in place with gentle authority. The headband can be simple or ornate, fabric or plastic, narrow or wide, but whatever form it takes, it is essential, the finishing touch that completes the look. The headband serves multiple purposes, all of them important. First, it is functional. After you spend an hour teasing your hair into a bouffant or a bubble cut, the last thing you want is for it to fall flat by noon. The headband provides structure, holding the teased sections back, preventing them from sliding forward and collapsing onto your forehead. It is like a retaining wall for your hairstyle, invisible support that keeps everything where it should be. Second, it is decorative. A plain hairstyle becomes interesting with the right headband. You can choose one that matches your outfit exactly, coordinating colors and patterns for a polished, intentional look. Or you can choose one that contrasts, adding a pop of unexpected color that draws the eye and makes people look twice. Headbands come in every material imaginable. Plastic in bright primary colors, fabric stretched over flexible bands, velvet for evening elegance, grosgrain ribbon tied in bows at the nape. Some headbands are thin, barely there, just a subtle line of color holding your hair back. Others are wide, several inches across, bold statements that cover a significant portion of your head. The wide ones are particularly useful when your hair is having a bad day, when the roots are greasy or the teasing did not quite work, because they cover the problem areas while still looking fashionable. You experiment with placement. Pushing the headband farther back creates a different look than positioning it right at your hairline. Some women wear them low, almost at the crown, using them to separate teased hair from straight hair in half-up styles. Others push them forward, creating a kind of frame around the face that emphasizes eyes and cheekbones. The headband also solves the problem of growing out bangs. When your bangs are that awkward in between length, too long to stay out of your eyes but too short to tuck behind your ears, the headband pushes them back, keeps them controlled, buys you a few more weeks before you have to make a decision about cutting them again or fully committing to growing them out. You own multiple headbands, a small collection that lives on your dresser, each one waiting for its moment. The black velvet one for evening events, the bright plastic ones for casual days, the patterned fabric one that matches your favorite dress, the thin tortoiseshell one that looks expensive even though it cost less than $1. Putting on a headband becomes part of your routine, the final step after your hair is teased and sprayed and shaped. You slide it on carefully, making sure it does not catch on any teased sections, does not pull too hard at the roots. You adjust it in the mirror, tilting it slightly, until it sits at exactly the right angle. Sometimes this takes several tries. The headband is picky. It knows where it wants to be. Throughout the day, you touch it occasionally, making sure it has not slipped, has not moved from its designated position. A shifted headband can ruin an entire look, throwing off the proportions, making your hair look unbalanced. You learn to feel when it is starting to slide, adjusting it discreetly, pressing it back into place with your fingertips. The headband leaves a mark, a slight indentation in your hair, where it pressed against your scalp all day. When you take it off at night, you can see the line, feel the slight soreness where it held tight. You massage your scalp gently, working out the tension, grateful to be free of it, but also grateful for the work it did, the way it held everything together when your hair wanted to fall apart. The headband is humble. It does not get the attention that the hairstyle itself gets. People do not compliment your headband the way they compliment your bouffant or your flip. But you know the truth. Without the headband, half these styles would not survive past breakfast. The headband is the unsung hero of 1960s hair, working quietly in the background, holding everything together, making sure you look intentional rather than chaotic. It is not glamorous, but it is necessary. And in the 1960s, necessity often wears the disguise of fashion. The side part is drama, asymmetry, a way to add interest to even the simplest hairstyle. You comb your hair deeply to one side, teasing the heavier section until it rises dramatically, then smooth the other side flat against your head. The contrast is striking, bold, a visual statement that says you understand the power of imbalance. You finish with hairspray, locking everything in place, and when you turn your head, the volume shifts and catches the light in ways that feel almost cinematic. The side part is not subtle. It is not meant to be. Everything about it is exaggerated. The depth of the part, the height of the volume, the flatness of the opposite side. It is asymmetry turned into art, imbalance that somehow feels perfectly balanced. You start by finding the part. Not the natural part your hair wants to fall into, but a much deeper one, carved dramatically to one side, sometimes as far as the outer edge of your eyebrow. You use the pointed end of a rat-tail comb, dragging it through your hair from your hairline back to your crown, creating a sharp, clean line that divides your head into two very unequal sections. The larger section, the one with most of your hair, is where the magic happens. You section it off further, working in layers, backcombing each piece aggressively until it stands up on its own. The goal is massive volume, height that seems architecturally impossible. You tease from the roots upward, creating a foundation of tangled hair that will support the smooth surface you will create on top. As you build the volume, you spray each section liberally, coating it with hairspray before moving to the next. The spray helps hold the teasing in place, prevents it from collapsing under its own weight. Your bathroom fills with the familiar chemical haze, the scent of aerosol and ambition. Once the teasing is complete, you gently smooth the top layer, using a fine-tooth comb to create a sleek surface that hides the ratted chaos underneath. This is delicate work. Too much pressure, and you will flatten the volume you just spent 20 minutes creating. Too little, and the teased hair will show through, looking messy and unfinished. You find the middle ground, smoothing just enough to create the illusion of naturally voluminous hair. The other side, the flat side, requires a different approach. You comb this section smooth, pulling it taut against your scalp, eliminating any hint of volume or lift. Some women use bobby pins to secure this side, pinning it flat behind their ear, creating a sleek surface that contrasts dramatically with the volume on the opposite side. Others simply smooth it with gel or pomade, slicking it down until it lies perfectly flat. The contrast is everything. The side part with volume only works because of the imbalance. The way one side is huge and the other is small, the way your eye moves from one to the other, constantly surprised by the difference. If both sides were voluminous, it would just be a bouffant. If both sides were flat, it would be boring. But this asymmetrical drama, this is interesting. You turn your head slowly, watching in the mirror as the volume shifts, as light catches the smooth surface from different angles, creating shadows and highlights that emphasize the shape. From one angle, you look dramatic, bold, avant-garde. From another angle, you look elegant, sophisticated, like someone who understands fashion on an instinctual level. The side part with volume is high maintenance. The flat side stays relatively put, but the voluminous side needs constant attention. Throughout the day, you check it, fluff it, add more spray when it starts to deflate. The side part demands vigilance. It does not hold itself. You wear it to parties and events, places where drama is expected, where you want to make an entrance. You wear it on dates when you want to look interesting, when you want your date to remember you not as just another girl with nice hair, but as the girl with that incredible asymmetrical style. You wear it when you feel bold, confident, ready to take up space in a world that often asks women to make themselves smaller. At night, when you brush it out, you find yourself almost sad to see it go. The side part with volume is temporary by nature, too dramatic to maintain for more than a day, too high maintenance to become a daily style. But for the hours it lasts, it transforms you, makes you feel powerful, striking, unforgettable. And sometimes that is worth all the teasing, all the hairspray, all the effort it takes to build something so beautifully unbalanced. The teased crown is volume without commitment, a way to add height and drama to the top of your head while leaving the rest of your hair natural. You section off the crown, backcomb it aggressively until it stands tall, then smooth the top layer gently to hide the chaos underneath. The result is a hairstyle that looks effortless, but required significant effort, a secret only you and your teasing comb understand. It is height, drama, confidence, all concentrated in one strategic location. The teased crown is the perfect compromise. You get the volume and drama that defines 60s hair without committing to a full bouffant or beehive. The rest of your hair can hang naturally, move freely, feel like actual hair instead of shellacked sculpture. But that crown, that elevated section at the very top of your head, announces that you are paying attention to trends, that you understand what the decade demands. You start by sectioning off just the crown area, a circle of hair at the very top of your head, roughly the size of your palm. You clip the rest of your hair out of the way, securing it so it does not interfere with your work. This section, this small concentrated area, is all you need. The back combing is aggressive but focused. You work in thin layers, taking a small section, holding it straight up, and dragging the comb down toward your scalp repeatedly. The hair tangles, knots, compresses into a dense pad of texture. You spray each layer as you go, building a foundation that will support the height. The teasing creates surprising volume from a relatively small amount of hair. The crown rises higher and higher, lifting away from your scalp, creating space where none existed before. It defies logic, this transformation from flat hair to towering volume, but it works. It always works. Once you have built enough height, you gently smooth the surface, using a soft brush or a fine-tooth comb, barely touching the hair, just enough to create a sleek appearance. The smoothing is an illusion, a thin veneer of order over underlying chaos. From the outside, your crown looks naturally voluminous, like you are simply born with thick, abundant hair that likes to stand tall. The truth, the nest of tangles hidden underneath, remains your secret. You blend the teased crown into the rest of your hair, combing the sides smooth, making sure there is no visible line where the volume stops and the natural hair begins. The transition should be seamless, gradual, so that the overall effect is harmonious rather than jarring. The teased crown works with almost any hairstyle. You can wear your hair down, letting it flow freely while the crown adds height and interest. You can pull it into a ponytail, the teased crown creating drama even in a casual style. You can add curls to the ends, creating a contrast between the smooth crown and the textured lengths. The beauty of the teased crown is its flexibility. On days when you want a little extra something but do not have time for a full style, the teased crown delivers. 15 minutes, maybe 20 if you are perfecting it, and you have transformed your look from ordinary to eye-catching. You wear it everywhere, to work, where it makes you look polished and put together, to casual outings, where it adds a touch of glamour to jeans and a sweater, to dates, where it strikes the perfect balance between effort and ease, showing you care about your appearance without going overboard. Throughout the day, the teased crown holds surprisingly well. The concentrated nature of the teasing, all that volume packed into one small area, creates a structure that resists deflation. You might need to touch it up slightly, add a bit more spray, fluff it with your fingers, but it does not collapse the way a full bouffant might. The teased crown also has a practical advantage. It is easier to sleep on than larger teased styles. When you lie down at night, the crown compresses slightly but does not completely flatten, and in the morning, a quick backcombing session can revive it without starting completely from scratch. When you finally brush out the teased crown, working through the tangles patiently, you find yourself appreciating its simplicity. It gave you drama without demanding your entire head. It gave you height without requiring architectural planning. It gave you that signature 60s look while letting most of your hair live its natural life. The teased crown is proof that sometimes the best solution is not all or nothing, but rather a small strategic dose of drama exactly where it matters most. Rolled bangs are sweetness personified, a soft curl that frames your forehead like a gentle wave. You set your bangs in a large roller, wait patiently as they dry, then brush them out into a smooth, rounded shape that sits perfectly above your eyebrows. Rolled bangs soften your face, make your eyes look bigger, add a touch of vintage charm to any hairstyle. They are the detail that completes the look, the finishing flourish that says you paid attention to every element. Bangs in the 1960s are almost always styled, rarely left to hang straight. The rolled bang is the most popular treatment, a soft curl that adds dimension and movement to the face. It is feminine without being fussy, polished without being severe. The process is simple but requires patience. You separate your bangs from the rest of your hair, combing them forward so they hang over your forehead. Then comes the roller, usually a large one, the kind that creates soft curves rather than tight spirals. You roll the bangs up and away from your face, toward the crown, securing the roller with a pin or clip. If you are doing this at home, you might walk around with the roller in while you complete other tasks, makeup, breakfast, reading the paper. The roller sits prominently on your forehead, impossible to hide, making you look slightly ridiculous in that private, domestic way that no one outside your family ever sees. If you are at the salon, the roller is just one of many covering your head, and you sit under the dryer with all the other women, everyone waiting patiently for their transformations. When the roller comes out, your bangs spring free in a perfect cylindrical curl, smooth and uniform. You do not leave them this way. The curl is too tight, too defined, more 1940s than 1960s. Instead, you brush through it gently, loosening the curl, softening it into a gentle roll that curves away from your forehead before feathering out at the ends. The placement of the roll matters. Some women style their rolled bangs to sit high on the forehead, creating lift and adding height to the face. Others prefer a lower placement, the curl sitting closer to the eyebrows, creating a softer, more romantic look. You experiment until you find the height that works for your face shape, your style, your mood. Rolled bangs require regular maintenance. Throughout the day, they tend to droop, especially in humid weather or if you touch them too much. You carry a small comb and travel-size hairspray in your purse, ducking into bathrooms periodically to refresh the curl, spray it back into shape, restore its smooth roundness. The rolled bang is versatile. It works with almost any hairstyle. You can wear it with a bouffant, the rolled bangs providing a soft contrast to the height and volume at the crown. You can wear it with a flip, both elements curving in complementary directions. You can wear it with straight hair, the curl in the bangs being the only styled element, a small detail that makes the entire look feel intentional. Rolled bangs also frame your face in a flattering way. They draw attention to your eyes, creating a gentle arc above them that makes them appear larger, more prominent. They soften a broad forehead, adding a curved element that breaks up the flat expanse. They add femininity to angular features, introducing a soft element that balances sharp cheekbones or a strong jawline. The rolled bang is sweet, innocent, the hairstyle detail of good girls and wholesome teenagers. It appears in yearbook photos and family portraits, in snapshots of proms and graduations. It is the hair of first dates and summer jobs, of girls who still live with their parents and observe curfews. But rolled bangs are not just for the young. Older women wear them too, finding that the soft curl is flattering, that it covers forehead lines and adds a youthful element without trying too hard. The rolled bang is ageless, in a way that many 60s styles are not, working equally well on a 16-year-old at a sock hop and a 40-year-old at a PTA meeting. At night, you have choices. You can brush out the curl, letting your bangs hang straight while you sleep. Or you can re-roll them, setting them in a fresh roller so they will be ready in the morning, buying yourself a few extra minutes of sleep by doing the work the night before. Most women choose the latter, becoming so accustomed to sleeping with a roller on their forehead that it stops feeling strange, becomes just another part of the routine, like brushing your teeth or setting an alarm. The rolled bang is a small detail, just a few inches of hair curled at the front of your head, but it makes a difference. It is the punctuation mark on your hairstyle, the finishing touch that takes you from styled to polished, from trying to succeeding. The sleek and straight style is rebellion against the teasing, the volume, the endless backcombing. It is hair that hangs naturally, smooth and shining, moving like water when you turn your head. Achieving truly straight hair in the 1960s requires patience, a hot iron, and a willingness to fight against the decade's obsession with volume. But for women who embrace it, the sleek and straight style is freedom, a quiet statement that beauty does not always require height. In a decade defined by volume, choosing to wear your hair straight is almost radical. It goes against everything the beauty magazines tell you, against the pressure from friends and stylists, and even your own mother, who worries that flat hair makes you look plain, unmemorable, like you are not even trying. But you are trying. You are trying very hard. It is just that your goal is different. You want sleekness, shine, hair that looks healthy and moves naturally. You want to feel your hair against your back, swinging freely, not locked into place by hairspray. You want simplicity in a world that has become exhaustingly complicated. Straightening hair in the 1960s is harder than it will be in future decades. There are no flat irons yet, no ceramic plates heated to precise temperatures, no Brazilian blowouts or keratin treatments. What you have is a pressing iron, a metal tool that looks more like a torture device than a beauty implement, heated over a stove or plugged into a wall socket with wiring that seems questionable at best. You section your hair carefully, working with small pieces at a time. You clamp the hot iron over a section, close to the roots but not so close that you burn your scalp, and pull slowly down the length, feeling the heat transform the texture, press out any wave or curl. Leave behind only straightness. The iron is heavy, unwieldy, and if you are not careful, it can burn your hair, leaving behind a singed smell and damaged ends. The process takes time, an hour, sometimes longer if your hair is particularly resistant. You work methodically, section by section, until your entire head has been pressed straight. By the end, your arms ache and the room smells faintly of heated hair and metal. But the result is worth it. Your hair hangs in a smooth curtain, shining under the light, swinging when you move your head. It feels lighter somehow, free from the weight of teasing and spray, allowed to simply exist as hair rather than as a constructed shape. The sleek and straight style requires different maintenance than voluminous styles. You wash your hair frequently, every few days, because oils show up more noticeably on straight hair than on teased styles. You use conditioner, lots of it, to keep the hair smooth and prevent frizz. You brush it regularly, long strokes from roots to ends, distributing the natural oils, keeping it shiny. You also have to accept that rain is your enemy. Moisture in the air causes straight hair to revert, to wave and curl and frizz, undoing all your careful pressing in a matter of minutes. On humid days, you wear your hair up, protecting it from the elements, or you simply accept that it will not stay perfectly straight, that some waviness is inevitable. The sleek and straight style looks modern, almost futuristic compared to the retro-inspired bouffants and flips. It is the hair of folk singers and artists, of women who reject conventional beauty standards, who find inspiration in authenticity rather than artifice. It is the hair of college students and intellectuals, women who are more interested in ideas than appearances. Though they still care enough to spend an hour with a pressing iron, you wear it with simple clothes, jeans and turtlenecks, shift dresses without excessive detail. The hair is the statement, the smooth simplicity of it, the way it moves and catches light. You do not need elaborate outfits to compete with elaborate hair. Everything can be understated, clean, minimal. People have mixed reactions. Some love it, calling it fresh and modern and sophisticated. Others are confused, asking why you do not tease your crown, why you do not add some volume, why you choose to wear your hair so flat when everyone else is reaching for the sky. You smile and shrug. You like it this way. That is reason enough. The sleek and straight style is not for everyone, and it is definitely not for every decade. But in the 1960s, when every other woman is backcombing and spraying and building architectural wonders on top of their heads, choosing to wear your hair straight and simple is its own kind of statement. It says you are confident enough to go against the tide, secure enough to choose comfort over conformity. It says your hair does not need to touch the ceiling to be beautiful. Sometimes, beauty is as simple as letting things fall naturally. Pin curls are vintage glamour. Small, tight curls pinned flat against your head while they dry, then brushed out into soft waves that frame your face like a 1940s movie star. You set them before bed, sleeping carefully so you do not crush them, and in the morning you release each pin with the anticipation of unwrapping a gift. The curls spring free, bouncy and full of life, ready to be shaped into whatever style the day requires. Pin curls are old-fashioned by 1960s standards, a technique that feels more like your grandmother's era than your own. But they are making a comeback, partly out of nostalgia, partly because they work beautifully, creating curls that are softer and more natural-looking than the tight spirals you get from hot rollers. The process is meditative, rhythmic, almost soothing once you get the hang of it. You start with damp hair, freshly washed and towel-dried. You section off a small piece, about an inch wide, and comb it smooth. Then you wrap it around your finger, coiling it into a flat spiral that sits against your scalp. You slide your finger out carefully, holding the curl in place, and secure it with bobby pins crossed in an X. You work your way around your head systematically, creating rows of flat curls pinned neatly to your scalp. Some women create uniform curls, all the same size, all curling in the same direction. Others vary it, alternating the direction to create more movement, making some curls larger for loose waves and others smaller for tighter curl. By the time you finish, your head is covered in these flat spirals, dozens of them, pinned so close to your scalp that you look almost bald from a distance, like you are wearing a strange, sculptural cap made of your own hair. You wrap a silk scarf around your head to protect the curls while you sleep, tying it carefully so it will not come loose during the night. Sleeping in pin curls is uncomfortable. The pins dig into your scalp. The tight curls pull at your roots. You have to sleep carefully, trying not to crush any of the curls, avoiding positions that would flatten them or cause them to dry in distorted shapes. You sleep lightly, waking several times during the night, adjusting your position, checking with your fingers to make sure everything is still in place. But in the morning, when you finally remove the pins, the discomfort is forgotten. Each curl springs free, a perfect spiral, tight and bouncy and full of potential. You have dozens of these tiny curls covering your head, and together they create volume, texture, dimension that cannot be achieved any other way. You brush through the curls gently, not with a regular brush but with a soft bristled one, barely touching them, just enough to blend them together, to soften the tight spirals into gentle waves. The brushing is key. Too much, and the curls disappear entirely, leaving you with poofy, undefined fuzz. Too little, and you are left with obvious, separate curls that look dated and stiff. The sweet spot is somewhere in between, where the individual curls have merged into waves that roll across your head, soft and romantic, framing your face beautifully. You can shape these waves with your hands, directing them, encouraging them to fall in flattering ways. Pin curls create a foundation for many different styles. You can leave your hair down, wearing the soft waves as a complete look. You can pin sections up, creating vintage updos with the curled sections providing texture and interest. You can combine pin curls with other techniques, teasing the crown for height while leaving the pin-curled sides soft and wavy. The style lasts for days if you maintain it properly. At night, you repin some of the sections, not all of them, just the pieces around your face that have started to fall flat. You sleep carefully again, protecting your work. In the morning, you refresh with your fingers, maybe add a little water to reactivate curls that have loosened. Pin curls are labor-intensive but economical. You do not need expensive products or tools, just bobby pins and patience. You do not need heat, which means less damage to your hair. You do not need rollers taking up space in your bathroom cabinet. Just your fingers, some pins, and the willingness to spend an hour winding your hair into tiny spirals. The women who wear pin curls in the 1960s tend to be either older, holding on to the glamour of their youth, or young women with a love of vintage aesthetics, girls who watch old movies and wish they had been born in a different era. The style bridges generations, connecting past and present, proving that some techniques never truly go out of style, they just wait patiently for someone to rediscover them. The layered cut is movement, dimension, a hairstyle that looks different from every angle. Your stylist cuts carefully, creating shorter pieces at the crown and longer pieces underneath, so when you move, your hair shifts and catches the light in unexpected ways. The layered cut is modern, fresh, a break from the rigid shapes of earlier decades. It is the hairstyle of women who want their hair to feel alive, dynamic, constantly changing. Layers are revolutionary in a decade, still clinging to blunt cuts and uniform lengths. The layered cut introduces irregularity, intentional unevenness that creates interest and motion. It is the beginning of a shift away from structured styles towards something more natural, more relaxed. Your stylist explains the concept before cutting, using her hands to show you how the layers will work, how the shorter pieces will create lift, while the longer pieces add weight and movement. You nod, trusting her vision, hoping she knows what she is doing. She begins cutting at the crown, taking sections and cutting them relatively short, a few inches at most. These top layers will create volume, will lift away from your scalp and add height without requiring any teasing. Then she moves downward, cutting each subsequent layer slightly longer than the one above it, creating a gradual progression from short to long. The cutting takes time. Each section must be measured carefully, cut at the correct angle to blend seamlessly with the sections above and below. The stylist checks her work constantly, comparing sides, making sure the layers are symmetrical, that the left matches the right. As she cuts, your hair begins to transform. The weight is removed from the ends, redistributed throughout the length. The hair becomes lighter, airier, full of internal movement. You can see it starting to work even before the cut is finished, the way the shorter layers want to lift, the way the longer pieces want to swing. When the cutting is complete, your stylist blow dries your hair, and this is where the layered cut truly reveals itself. The layers move independently, each one catching the air from the dryer, lifting and falling and shifting. The hair looks alive in a way that blunt cuts never do, full of motion and dimension. The layered cut requires different styling than one-length hair. You cannot just brush it smooth and be done. The layers need to be encouraged, styled with your fingers while you blow dry, lifting them, directing them, helping them find their shape. You use a round brush on some sections, pulling them smooth. You let other sections air dry, allowing their natural texture to show through. The beauty of layers is their versatility. You can style them straight and sleek, the different lengths, creating a cascading effect. You can add curl, each layer curling independently, creating a bouncy, voluminous look. You can part them in the middle or on the side, and each parting creates a completely different silhouette. The layered cut also grows out better than blunt cuts. As your hair gets longer, the layers simply become longer layers, the shape evolving gradually rather than suddenly looking too long or losing its form. You can go longer between cuts, stretching your salon appointments, saving money, Layers work with any hair texture. Straight hair benefits from the added movement and dimension. Wavy hair looks more intentional, the layers enhancing the natural wave pattern. Curly hair becomes lighter, bouncier, less triangular as the weight is removed from the ends. You wear your layered cut with newfound confidence. You shake your head, watching in mirrors and shop windows as the layers move, catching light from different angles. You run your fingers through your hair, feeling the different lengths, the way they slide against each other. People notice the change immediately. The layered cut is dramatic in its modernity, so different from the uniform styles that have dominated the decade. Friends ask who cut your hair, wanting the name of your stylist, hoping to achieve the same effortless movement. The layered cut is low maintenance compared to teased styles. You do not need to spend an hour backcombing every morning. You do not need industrial quantities of hairspray. You wash it, add some product for hold or shine, blow it dry with your fingers, and you are done. 20 minutes, maybe 30 if you are taking your time. At night, the layers fall naturally when you lie down, and in the morning, they fall back into place with minimal effort. A quick shake, a run through with your fingers, maybe a touch of water to reactivate any product, and you are ready to face the day. The layered cut is hair that works with you instead of against you. Hair that understands that you have better things to do than spend hours in front of a mirror. It is modern not just in its shape but in its philosophy, embracing ease and movement, and the idea that beauty can be effortless, natural, alive. The updo with curls is special occasion elegance, hair swept up and pinned carefully, with a few strategic curls left loose to frame your face or trail down your neck. It is the hairstyle of proms and weddings, of moments when you want to look like the best possible version of yourself. Achieving the updo requires planning, patience, and a small arsenal of bobby pins. But when you see yourself in the mirror, elegant and timeless, every second of effort feels worth it. The updo with curls is not a daily style. It is saved for important moments, the kind that get photographed and remembered, the kind where you want to look back in 20 years and feel proud of how you presented yourself. It is formal without being stiff, elegant without being cold. You begin by curling your hair, setting it in hot rollers or pin curls, creating a foundation of uniform curls that will later be shaped and pinned. The curls need to be tight and well defined because they will be manipulated extensively during the updo process, and loose curls will fall apart under all that handling. Once the curls are set and cooled, you begin the construction. You section off the sides and back, deciding which pieces will be pinned up and which will remain loose. The loose pieces are strategic, chosen specifically for how they frame your face, how they soften the overall look, how they add a romantic element to an otherwise formal style. You start pinning at the nape, gathering hair and twisting it upward, securing it with bobby pins in a formation that feels architectural. Each section is twisted, tucked, and pinned, building upward, creating a structure of pinned curls that sits at the back of your head like an elaborate bun. The pinning requires precision. Each pin must be placed carefully, angled correctly to hold weight without being visible. You cross pins in X formations for extra security, hiding them beneath layers of hair so that from the outside, the updo looks effortless, as if your hair naturally wants to arrange itself this way. As you build the updo, you leave certain curls unpinned. 2 pieces frame your face, curling gently against your cheeks. Another curl trails down the back of your neck, a soft tendril that moves when you turn your head. These loose curls are essential. Without them, the updo would be too severe, too perfect. The imperfection humanizes it, makes it romantic rather than rigid. You check the updo from all angles, holding a hand mirror to see the back, making sure everything is symmetrical, secure, polished. You adjust pieces, add more pins where needed, smooth sections that look uneven. The updo is scrutinized from every angle because you know it will be photographed from every angle, and you want it to look perfect no matter where the camera points. The updo transforms you. With your hair up, your neck looks longer, more elegant. Your face is completely visible, nothing hidden, which is both liberating and terrifying. You cannot hide behind your hair tonight. Your features, your expression, your confidence, Everything is on display. You add accessories, a small decorative comb tucked into the side, or a delicate hairpin with pearls, or fresh flowers woven into the curls. The accessories add personality, keep the updo from looking too generic, make it uniquely yours. Throughout the evening, you are careful with your movements. You do not lean back too aggressively, do not shake your head too vigorously, do not touch your hair with your hands. The updo is secure, but it is not indestructible. You protect it the way you would protect any precious thing. People compliment you all night. They tell you that you look beautiful, elegant, grown up. You smile and thank them, feeling a quiet pride in the fact that you created this look yourself, that you spent 2 hours in front of a mirror, pinning and adjusting until everything was perfect. The updo stays intact for hours, holding strong through dinner and dancing and photographs. Only near the end of the night do you feel it beginning to loosen, a pin slipping slightly, a curl starting to droop. You excuse yourself to the bathroom, where you make quick repairs, adding more hairspray, reinserting loose pins, buying yourself another hour. When you finally take it down at the end of the night, removing pin after pin, your hair falls loose in waves, kinked from being pinned, impressions left where the pins held tight. You massage your scalp, relieving the soreness, feeling the weight of the day lift as your hair returns to its natural state. But even as you take it down, you think about the next special occasion, the next time you will need an updo with curls, the next opportunity to transform yourself into that elegant, polished version that exists only on the most important days. Because that is what the updo with curls gives you, the chance to be extraordinary, if only for one night. Adding a scarf to your hairstyle is not just decoration, it is transformation, a way to add colour, pattern and personality to even the simplest look. You tie the scarf around your head like a headband, or wrap it around a ponytail, or fold it carefully into your updo, and suddenly your hairstyle becomes a statement. The scarf can be silk or cotton, bright or subtle, patterned or plain, but whatever it is, it makes your hair feel intentional, curated, complete. The scarf is practical magic. On days when your hair refuses to cooperate, when the teasing falls flat or the curls will not hold or you simply do not have time for anything elaborate, the scarf saves you. You pull your hair back into a simple ponytail or let it hang loose, then tie a colourful scarf around your head, and suddenly you look put together, fashionable, like you planned this all along. Scarves come in endless varieties. There are silk squares printed with paisley or geometric patterns, their edges hand-rolled and delicate. There are cotton bandanas in solid colours, practical and washable, the kind you can throw in your purse and pull out whenever needed. There are chiffon scarves so light they float on air, and heavy wool scarves for winter that add warmth along with style. The way you tie the scarf matters. You can fold it into a long strip and tie it around your head like a headband. The knot positioned at the top of your head or off to one side, the ends trailing down or tucked under. You can wrap it around a ponytail, winding it around the elastic several times before tying it in a bow, the fabric covering the utilitarian rubber band and transforming it into something decorative. Some women tie scarves around bouffants, positioning them carefully so they sit just behind the teased crown, holding everything in place while adding a pop of colour. Others wrap scarves around low buns, crisscrossing them over the bun itself, creating a kind of decorative cage that holds the style secure while looking intentional and chic. The scarf also solves specific problems. Bad hair day? Scarf. Roots need touching up, but you cannot get to the salon until next week? Scarf positioned strategically to cover the regrowth. Forgot to set your hair last night and now it is flat and lifeless? Scarf tied high on your head, adding the illusion of volume where none exists. Colour coordination becomes a daily consideration. You choose scarves that match your outfit or contrast with it in pleasing ways. A red scarf with a black dress, a floral scarf with a solid coloured blouse, a polka dot scarf with jeans and a simple top, adding personality to an otherwise plain outfit. You collect scarves the way some women collect shoes or handbags, building a small wardrobe of them, each one waiting for its moment. They do not take up much space, these squares of folded fabric tucked into a drawer, but they expand your styling options exponentially. The same ponytail can look completely different depending on which scarf you tie around it. The scarf also adds movement. When you turn your head, the ends flutter. When you walk, they sway gently against your neck or shoulders. The movement is feminine, playful, adding life to hairstyles that might otherwise feel static. Tying a scarf becomes muscle memory after a while. Your hands know how to fold it, how to position it, how tight to tie the knot so it holds without giving you a headache. You can do it without a mirror if necessary. Standing at your locker at work or sitting in your car before walking into a party, your fingers working automatically, creating a bow that sits at exactly the right angle. Scarves are also deeply personal. The one your grandmother gave you, silk with painted roses, worn soft from years of use. The one you bought on vacation, bright colours that remind you of sunshine and freedom. The one your best friend tied in your hair before a dance, the two of you laughing as she tried 3 different knots before finding one that looked right. At night, you untie the scarf carefully, smoothing it flat, folding it, returning it to its place in the drawer. Your hair underneath might be slightly flattened where the scarf pressed against it, a faint indentation that will disappear by morning. But for the hours you wore it, the scarf transformed your look, added something special, made you feel stylish and intentional. The scarf is small, inexpensive, easy to overlook. But in the 1960s, when hairstyles require so much time and effort and precision, the scarf is a revelation. It is proof that sometimes the simplest addition, a square of fabric tied with care, can make all the difference. Textured layers are controlled chaos, a hairstyle that looks effortless but requires careful cutting and styling. Your hair is cut into multiple lengths, each one slightly shorter than the last, creating a sense of movement and dimension that feels modern and relaxed. You style it with your fingers more than a brush, letting the layers fall naturally, embracing the imperfections, celebrating the fact that not every strand needs to be perfectly in place. The textured layer is a departure from the precise uniform cuts that have dominated earlier in the decade. It is rougher around the edges, deliberately imperfect, the kind of cut that looks like you just woke up and ran your fingers through your hair, even though achieving that look required significant planning and skill from your stylist. Your stylist uses a razor instead of scissors for much of the cutting, the blade slicing through your hair at angles, creating soft, feathered edges rather than blunt lines. The razor removes weight unevenly, leaving some pieces longer than others, creating texture that cannot be achieved with traditional cutting methods. She works in sections, cutting the top layers quite short, then gradually increasing the length as she moves down your head. But unlike traditional layering, where each layer is uniform in length, textured layers are irregular. Within each layer, some pieces are shorter, some longer, creating a jagged, uneven edge that looks organic, natural, almost wild. When the cutting is finished and your hair is dried, you can see the texture immediately. The different lengths create separation, individual pieces visible rather than blending into one solid mass. Your hair has dimension, depth, a sense of movement even when you are standing still. Styling textured layers requires a different approach than styling smooth, uniform hair. You do not blow dry it perfectly smooth. You do not brush it into submission. Instead, you work product through damp hair with your fingers, scrunching and twisting sections randomly, encouraging them to dry in whatever shape feels natural. You might use a diffuser on low heat, holding it near your head without actually touching your hair, letting the warm air circulate gently. The result is hair that looks undone but intentional, messy but styled, chaotic but controlled. It has volume without being teased, movement without being curled, interest without being fussy. It is the kind of hair that looks like you did not try very hard, which is exactly the point. Textured layers work particularly well with natural texture. If your hair has a slight wave, the layers enhance it, giving the waves direction and shape. If your hair is straight, the layers create the illusion of movement, preventing it from hanging flat and lifeless. If your hair is curly, the layers reduce bulk and weight, allowing the curls to spring free rather than pulling down under their own weight. You wear textured layers with casual clothes, jeans and t-shirts, simple dresses, anything that matches the relaxed, effortless vibe of the hairstyle. The cut would look wrong with formal attire, too undone for elegant occasions. But for everyday life, for classes and coffee shops and weekend errands, textured layers are perfect. The style requires minimal maintenance. You wash your hair and let it air dry, maybe adding a little product, maybe not. You run your fingers through it occasionally, separating pieces, creating more texture. You do not brush it, because brushing would smooth out the texture, eliminate the separation between layers, turn it into something more conventional. Textured layers grow out gracefully. As your hair gets longer, the layers simply become longer layers, the textured edges maintaining their shape. You can go months between cuts without the style losing its form, which is liberating after years of precise cuts that required maintenance every 6 weeks. People react differently to textured layers than they do to more polished styles. Some love the modern, relaxed feel, the way it looks natural and easy. Others are confused, asking if you have cut your own hair, if you forgot to style it, if something went wrong at the salon. You smile and explain that it is supposed to look this way, that the imperfection is intentional. The textured layer represents a shift happening in the 60s, a move away from rigid perfection towards something more authentic, more individual. It is the beginning of a new era, one where personal expression matters more than conforming to a specific ideal. The textured layer is not for everyone, but for those who embrace it, it is freedom. It is permission to stop fighting your hair and start working with it. It is the discovery that sometimes the most beautiful hairstyles are the ones that look like they are not trying at all. The high bun is elegance with attitude, hair swept up to the very top of your head and twisted into a smooth, rounded shape. It is the hairstyle of dancers and debutantes, of women who want to look polished and pulled together without sacrificing drama. The high bun elongates your neck, emphasizes your features, makes you feel taller and more confident. It is practical and glamorous, functional and beautiful, the rare hairstyle that manages to be both at once. The high bun starts with a high ponytail, positioned at the crown of your head, the very top, where it sits like a fountain ready to cascade. You brush your hair smooth, gathering every strand, pulling everything upward with firm, even tension. The ponytail needs to be tight, secure, because it is bearing the weight of the entire bun. A loose ponytail will sag, and a saggy high bun is a failed high bun. Once the ponytail is secured, you twist the length of hair, coiling it around the base of the elastic, wrapping it round and round in a spiral that grows wider with each rotation. The hair forms a smooth, rounded shape, a donut of hair, sitting prominently at the top of your head. You pin the bun in place, sliding bobby pins through the coiled hair and into the ponytail base beneath, securing everything so it will not shift or unravel. The pins need to be placed strategically, evenly distributed around the bun, creating a support system that can handle movement without collapsing. The high bun can be smooth and sleek, every hair perfectly in place, not a strand out of line, or it can be slightly softer, with a few deliberately loosened pieces around the face, a more romantic interpretation of the same basic structure. You choose, based on the occasion, your mood, how much time you have. The high bun transforms your silhouette. With all your hair piled on top of your head, your neck looks impossibly long, swan-like, elegant. Your shoulders appear more defined. Your face is completely exposed, every feature on display, which is either empowering or terrifying depending on your relationship with your own face. You feel taller with a high bun, literally taller by a few inches, but also metaphorically taller, more confident, more commanding. There is something about having your hair up high that changes your posture, makes you stand straighter, hold your head higher, move through the world with more authority. The high bun is practical for physical activity. Dancers wear it because it stays secure through intense movement, through leaps and turns and hours of rehearsal. It does not bounce or swing or get in the way. It simply stays put, allowing complete focus on the body rather than the hair. But the high bun is also glamorous. Paired with the right outfit, evening gown and jewelry, it becomes sophisticated rather than utilitarian. The same hairstyle that works for ballet class works for the opera, adapting to context through clothing and accessories rather than changing its fundamental form. Throughout the day, you check the high bun periodically, running your hand over the surface, making sure nothing has come loose, that the shape is still smooth and rounded. High buns can develop flyaways, little hairs that escape the pins and stick up at odd angles, and these need to be smoothed down with water or gel, encouraged to rejoin their companions. The high bun also has a social meaning. It signals that you are busy, productive, focused. You have your hair up and out of the way because you have work to do, things to accomplish, no time for hair that requires constant attention. The high bun is the hairstyle of women who are going places, literally and figuratively. At night, when you finally take down the high bun, your scalp sighs with relief. The constant tension of having all your hair pulled upward creates a dull ache that you do not fully notice until the pressure is released. You massage your head gently, working out the soreness, feeling the blood return to areas that have been compressed all day. Your hair falls loose, kinked and wavy from being twisted, the shape of the bun still visible in the texture. You brush through it slowly, working out the tangles, letting your hair return gradually to its natural state. But even as you brush it out, you are already thinking about tomorrow, about whether you will wear the high bun again or try something different. Because once you discover the confidence that comes from wearing your hair piled high on your head, walking through the world feeling tall and elegant and unstoppable, it is hard to go back to anything else. The high bun is not just a hairstyle, it is a posture, a mindset, a way of carrying yourself through the world with your head held high, literally and figuratively, ready to face whatever comes next. Side-swept waves are romance, softness, old Hollywood glamour adapted for the modern 1960s woman. You curl your hair carefully, then brush it out until the curls soften into gentle waves, sweeping everything to one side and pinning it carefully so it stays. The result is a hairstyle that looks effortless but required significant effort. Waves that catch the light and move when you turn your head, making you feel like you are always walking in slow motion. The side-swept wave is all about drama through asymmetry. Everything flows to one side, creating a cascade of waves that falls over one shoulder while the other side remains relatively bare. The imbalance is intentional, striking, the kind of look that makes people turn and look twice. You start by curling your entire head, using hot rollers or a curling iron, creating uniform curls that will later be transformed into waves. The curls need to be smooth and well-formed, because imperfect curls create imperfect waves, and side-swept waves demand perfection. Once the curls have cooled and set, you brush through them with a soft bristled brush, long, gentle strokes that loosen the tight spirals and blend them into rolling waves. You do not brush too much, because you want to maintain the wave pattern, the undulating rhythm of peaks and valleys that makes waves so visually interesting. Now comes the sweeping. You create a deep side part, much deeper than your natural part, carving a line with your comb that extends from your forehead back to your crown. Everything on the smaller side is smoothed flat against your head, sleek and controlled. Everything on the larger side is swept across, cascading over your shoulder in a waterfall of waves. You pin the waves strategically, using bobby pins hidden beneath the layers of hair, securing sections so they will not slide back to center. The pins are essential but invisible, tucked carefully so they do not show, so the waves appear to be holding themselves in this swept position naturally. Some women add a decorative hair clip or comb at the point where the waves sweep across, the accessory serving both functional and decorative purposes, holding the style secure while adding a touch of glamour. Others keep it simple, letting the waves themselves be the statement. The side-swept waves frame your face on one side, the waves rolling gently against your cheek, softening your features. The other side is bare, exposed, creating an interesting contrast, a balance between hidden and revealed. You practice moving with side-swept waves, learning how to turn your head so the waves swing dramatically, how to toss them back over your shoulder when they fall forward, how to use the hair as part of your body language. The waves become expressive, a way of communicating confidence, flirtation, elegance, without saying a word. The side-swept waves photograph beautifully. The waves catch light and shadow, creating depth and dimension that makes even amateur snapshots look professional. You turn your face slightly toward the swept side, letting the waves frame you, creating a composition that feels balanced and intentional. Throughout the evening, you adjust the waves, smoothing sections that have become ruffled, adding more pins when you feel them starting to slip, checking in mirrors and reflective surfaces to make sure everything still looks deliberate. The side-swept waves require maintenance, constant small adjustments to maintain the illusion of effortlessness. The waves also require careful movement. You do not lean the wrong way, do not turn too quickly, do not engage in activities that would disturb the careful arrangement. The side-swept waves are delicate, beautiful but fragile, requiring protection and care. At night, when you brush out the waves, you find yourself reluctant to let them go. They were beautiful while they lasted, transforming you into someone glamorous and romantic, someone who looked like they belonged in old movies. But waves, like all beautiful things, are temporary. They exist for a moment, perfect and shining, and then they are brushed away, replaced by whatever comes next. But the memory of how you felt wearing them, confident and elegant and beautiful, that stays longer. The side-swept waves are not just a hairstyle. They are an experience, a brief window into a more glamorous version of yourself, proof that with enough effort and the right technique, you can transform into anyone you want to be, at least for one evening. The natural afro is pride, identity, a powerful statement in a decade that often tried to erase it. It is hair worn naturally, allowed to grow into its full, glorious shape, a halo of texture that refuses to conform. Maintaining an afro requires care, moisture, gentle handling, and a deep understanding that your hair is not something to fight against, but something to celebrate. It is the hairstyle of revolutionaries and artists, of women who understand that beauty comes in infinite forms. In the 1960s, wearing a natural afro is a political act as much as aesthetic choice. For generations, black women have been pressured to straighten their hair, to press it flat with hot combs, to chemically relax it into submission, to make it look as European as possible. The afro rejects all of that. It says, "This is my hair, exactly as it grows from my head, and it is beautiful." Growing an afro requires patience. You stop straightening, stop pressing, stop chemically treating your hair, and let it grow naturally. At first, the growth is awkward, short and patchy, not yet forming the full, rounded shape of a mature afro. You push through this awkward stage, resisting the urge to reach for the hot comb, to do what you have always done. As the afro grows, it begins to take shape. The hair grows outward rather than down, defying gravity, creating a cloud of texture that surrounds your head like a halo. Each strand coils tightly, and together these coils create volume, mass, a presence that cannot be ignored. Maintaining an afro requires a different approach than maintaining straight hair. You moisturize constantly, because natural hair dries out easily, becomes brittle, and breaks if not properly cared for. You use oils and creams, working them through your hair with your fingers, coating each strand, sealing in moisture. You use a pick, a wide-toothed comb with long, evenly spaced teeth, to shape your afro. You insert the pick at the roots and lift gently, creating height, shaping the rounded silhouette. The picking is gentle, careful, because rough handling causes breakage, pulls out hair, damages the delicate structure. You do not brush your afro. Brushes are designed for straight hair, and using them on tightly coiled hair causes nothing but pain and damage. You work with your fingers and your pick, the only tools you need. The afro grows bigger over time, the shape becoming more defined, more dramatic. Some women pick their afros into perfect rounded shapes, symmetrical and smooth. Others let them grow wild, embracing the irregularity, the natural randomness of how hair grows. Wearing an afro in the 1960s draws attention, both positive and negative. Some people stare, uncomfortable with this visible rejection of assimilation, this assertion of black identity and pride. Others smile, nod, offer words of support and solidarity. The afro identifies you, marks you as someone who has made a choice, who has chosen natural over processed, who has chosen pride over conformity. The afro is also practical in ways that straightened hair is not. You do not worry about rain or humidity reverting your hair because your hair is already in its natural state. You do not worry about sweat undoing hours of styling because the afro is low maintenance, requiring only occasional picking to maintain its shape. You sleep on a satin pillowcase to reduce friction, to prevent your hair from drying out overnight. In the morning, you pick it out, reshape it, add a little oil if needed, and you are ready. 15 minutes, maybe less. The afro does not require the hours of preparation that teased and curled styles demand. The afro is also deeply personal. It is a reconnection with your heritage, with the texture and form your hair naturally takes, with generations of ancestors who wore their hair this way. It is a rejection of the idea that straight hair is professional, beautiful, acceptable, and that natural hair is not. The afro is beautiful. The way it frames your face, the way it moves gently when you walk, the way light catches the texture, creating shadows and highlights across the rounded surface. It is volume and presence and pride, all wrapped into one magnificent hairstyle. By the end of the decade, the afro will become a symbol of the Black Power movement, of resistance and pride, and the fight for equality. But even in these earlier years, when it is less common, less political, it is still powerful. It is still a statement. It is still a woman looking at her reflection and deciding that her natural hair, exactly as it grows from her head, is not just acceptable but beautiful. The afro is not just a hairstyle. It is a revolution, quiet or loud, personal or political. A declaration that beauty has never been singular, has never been one thing, and that every texture, every coil, every natural form deserves to be celebrated, seen, honored, to mean. The afro is hair that refuses to apologize for existing. And in the 1960s, when so much of the beauty industry is built on making women feel inadequate, that refusal is everything. So tonight, as you settle deeper into your blanket and feel the weight of the day lifting, take a moment to think about the women who sat in salon chairs in 1962, heads covered in rollers, waiting patiently for beauty to set. Think about the mothers who woke early to tease their daughters' hair before school dances, fingers working carefully, passing down techniques like heirlooms. Think about the women who stood in front of bathroom mirrors at midnight, unpinning sculptured curls after long evenings, massaging sore scalps, already thinking about tomorrow. They did not know they were living in a decade we would look back on with fascination. They were simply living, doing their best with the tools they had, the products they trusted, the styles that made them feel confident or beautiful, or simply presentable enough to face the world. History is not always grand events and dramatic turning points. Sometimes it is a can of aqua net on a vanity and a drawer full of bobby pins, and the muscle memory of rolling a perfect bang. Sometimes it is the quiet dignity of caring for yourself, of taking time to create something beautiful even when no one is watching, of passing a comb through your daughter's hair and teaching her that she is worth the effort. So as you drift towards sleep tonight, maybe carry something small from this era forward. The patience of waiting under a dryer, the care of arranging each curl just so, the understanding that beauty is not always effortless, but the effort itself can be a kind of meditation, a way of saying, I am here, I matter, I am worth this time. The bouffants have fallen, the beehives have come down, the rollers have been put away, but the women who wore them with pride, who found joy in a perfect flip or confidence in a teased crown, they were here. They mattered. And tonight, across all these years, we remember them fondly. Sleep well. And may your dreams be as soft as finger waves, as free as a messy updo, as perfectly imperfect as all of us have always been. Good night.